Rap Life Review, what's happening, man? I'm Ebro, that's Low, that's Eddie in LA, and we have something amazing to present to you today. It's called real journalism.
Oh boy.
Hey, yeah!
You don't see it in hip hop, but we actually have journalists. Low is a real journalist, and also Nadeska, who has put together for us today, for our viewing pleasure and entertainment, the rundown, the recap of 2024.
Oh, thank you for such an incredible intro. Really, this is just organized chaos, right? I feel like every year at the end of the year, we look back and we're like, man, that was a wild 12 months. But 2024 was one for the record books. Like, just curious before we jump into the timeline, how are y'all feeling about music and culture this year? I would say I am feeling simultaneously invigorated and disillusioned.
I enjoyed it. I like chaos. I like people fighting. I like people arguing. I like how everything went down this year. It was great. I got a new Beyonce album. I wore my Beyonce shirt because someone in the comments said, how does Beyonce make your top list? Real men don't listen to Beyonce. So
Wait,
I
somebody
enjoyed
said that?
Yeah, it's like one of the first comments in our last video.
Wow,
like, real men don't listen.
crazy.
I'm sorry your masculinity's wrapped up in pop stars you don't listen to. But besides that, man, this is like the best year we've had in hip-hop in a long time. Kendrick gave us a great album. We got like 1 million beefs. We was on the internet like, a new song dropped. Drake dropped a new one. Kendrick dropped a new one.
That was crazy.
Bruh.
I would also say even like a GloRilla, a Sexy Red, a Latto, Doechii.
This was the year of the woman.
Again, by
Yes.
the way.
Again.
We said this last year too.
Yeah.
Again.
They upheld the standard again, and they upped it.
Yeah.
Well, and even the way things turned out for Young Thug at the end of everything, I think is a big deal.
There were some miracles and a lot of twists and turns and shocks and surprises. So yeah, I thought we should just do a chronological, recap of the year.
So we're starting in January.
We're starting January at the very, very top of the year. Cat Williams, he's not really hip hop, but he is. I feel like he saw what was coming at the top of the year. That interview he did with Club Shay Shay, I think it's over 80 million views or something at this point. Kendrick gives him a shout out on the new album. I mean, he called out all these deviants are catching hell in 2024. And boy, was that man right. So the first thing on our timeline, I feel so silly even saying this that I apologize. Lupe Fiasco and Cudi squashing a beef that none of us really knew that they ever had after running at the Bape store when Cudi was, ashamed to be working at the store and hid from Lupe. I don't know. It was really dumb. I'm sorry I mentioned it. Let's just,
it was the how do I say this? It was the beef we didn't need. It was the beef we didn't know we need and absolutely didn't need. Let me just say it like that.
And didn't care about. Like, they could have kept that.
Now, it was definitely, Bape store beef is not something that...
the culture could have lived without that one this year.
Nah,
all right.
But it's good they resolved their issues. That's always good.
That's always
There you go.
good.
That's the bright spot. Now, a few days later, on January 26th, Megan Thee Stallion drops Hiss. Now, this started a war with Nicki Minaj. Listen, so there was, I'm not even going to say the line, but there was a line referencing Megan's Law that people interpreted as a dig at Nicki Minaj's husband, and that set off a firestorm. So while Nicki was waiting for the sample to clear on her official response, she launched an avalanche on social media referencing the Tory Lanez incident, Megan's deceased mom. It got messy really quick, and a few days later, January 29th, she did respond officially with Bigfoot. Now, I have to say, this is one of those beefs that I am glad it fizzled out when it did, because it got nasty so quickly. It was never really about like the bars or the lyricism and going back and forth. It just got so personal so quick. But do you guys disagree?
I mean, that's Nicki Minaj. Like, she's going to take it to hell. You feel what I'm saying? So
I think, wouldn't we need to, wasn't Nicki very like supportive of Tory Lanez? Wasn't she vocally supportive of Tory Lanez? Wasn't that a thing?
So you think that's part of the issue here?
Well, I don't think we could just say Megan just jumped in and started going at.
There was a reason.
If you guys want a little bit of just their history, so obviously it seemed like they first connected on Instagram Live. This was back in 2019.
Right.
Then they did Hot Girl Summer together. That was a huge record. I feel like all of us love seeing Nicki, who's a veteran, one of the greatest to ever do it, link up with Megan, who is still like building her career.
That's right.
Megan tweeted at the time, I'm gonna throw this up. She says, "Can't even believe that I collaborated with Nicki Minaj. This woman is one of the greatest to ever do it. Thank you." Later that year, Variety actually did a feature on Megan, and Nicki sent in a quote saying, "One of my favorite things about Meg is her desire to further her education." She goes on to say it's so important for women to feel inspired to achieve things outside of social media where you're usually just focused on your body. Just showing her so much love. She said Megan is a perfect example that we can have fun and be smart at the same time. So just a reminder that this started in such a real and genuine place. And then over the years, there was speculation about what went wrong, maybe because Megan collaborated with Cardi, but none of that was ever confirmed as far as I know.
So we never knew what the root of their issue was. Like,
Not confirmed.
So we can allege that it's because she collabed with Cardi.
Allegedly.
Right, okay.
So that's probably where it started.
Listen, it came and went fairly quickly,
Yeah.
I think.
Thankfully.
And, you know, listen, Nicki's always going to be down for the smoke. And also, you know, Nicki is never, ever shied away from the reality if you collaborate with people she don't fuck with.
Right.
It's very Jamaica Queens of her and 50 Cent.
And childish.
You know what I'm saying?
It's childish as
There's
fuck.
something in the water over there where,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, that's how they move. So, you know, they take that as disrespect and you playing in their face if you collaborate with their ops, and it is what it is.
This is why I thought we should do the timeline. Y'all are gonna need this when shit really hits the fan.
Well, and
next
Uncle
year.
Murder, if you out there watching, I know you trying to still piece together your year-end wrap-up.
You probably sweating
Is it
right
okay
now.
if he steals from your...
Please.
All right.
February 4th, 66th Annual Grammy Awards. I think we got to give another shout out to Killer Mike.
Yep.
He won
Wow.
Best
Yes.
Rap Performance,
Facts.
Best Rap Song, and Best Rap Album with Michael. I don't think...
And if we're being honest, that moment, and I think if we go back even a couple of years, what the Grammys has done with hip hop, people are gonna have problems with it. People are gonna say, "Oh, I sold more records, or
Yeah,
this
yeah.
record was
Bigger.
more popular than the ones that won at the Grammys." I think the Grammys, I can only speak for hip hop and even R&B to some degree.
Right.
I think they get it wrong. Obviously, you know, I'm biased when it comes to like Song of the Year and Record of the Year and things like that. But specifically to the team over there that's managing and voting on hip hop, and the producers and artists and engineers and everybody that votes on hip hop, I feel like they're getting it right with regard to like the nominations.
Lately.
Like as far as like real cultural hip hop albums
Yeah.
and things in the last several years.
Yeah, last
right?
several
Like,
years
yeah.
it's looked a little brighter.
Well, yeah, but like you've had like the Nas and the Nas albums and the Killer Mike and the
Yeah.
Pusha T's
Yeah.
and the Tyler the Creator, obviously, whom we love, and even who else got some? There's some other people.
GloRilla got nominated this
GloRilla,
year.
yeah,
So
she got
even
nominated.
that
GloRilla
ended
this
up
year,
being-
yeah. So, I think if it's been aligned with what I believe the cultural aspects of the conversations and what people love.
They're echoing what we've been championing for like the last couple of
Yes.
years. That's what I think. That's what it sounds like.
And not just following,
Shoot.
well, or just, mainstream appeal.
Yeah.
It's more to the culture of
Because
it all.
yeah, Killer Mike, he doesn't consider himself obviously mainstream. So
Right.
him winning was definitely a big moment. So I feel like we got to shout out Mike and the Grammys for that. So that was February 4th. 5 days later, on February 9th, Latto continues feuding with Ice Spice on Sunday Service. Not gonna lie, I didn't really tune into this beef. I just feel like we're gonna mention it. We're gonna keep on pushing to.
Well, I would like to say, once again, just like the Megan Nicki thing, which was we're saying was loosely based on the collabs, not loosely, but seems to be based on the collab of Megan and Cardi. The Ice Spice Latto thing seems to be based on Ice Spice Nicki collab, and then Latto,
And Nicki?
well, because Latto and Nicki had a thing.
So basically, women should just not collaborate with each other, and then there would be no beefs.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, people often, put the crosshairs on their ops and whoever's kind of relevant. Latto took shots at Nicki before, and then her and Ice Spice started doing a little thing, and then Latto shot her music video
In the Bronx.
in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Which on some hip hop shit, it's kind of tight.
Yeah.
Like, if we being honest, like,
Nah, it is.
she pulled up on the block,
Yeah.
Like,
where you at?
And I'm here.
20
Ebro
trucks deep.
didn't want to skip this one. Man, I'm gonna be Nice Spice and just hope that someday
Nice Spice.
Nice Spice.
they can all make
like that.
amends and just get along because they all secretly
not
still
gonna happen. That's not
love
gonna happen.
Nicki. Okay, all right, fine.
No,
I
they
can-
all love Nicki.
I
by the
can,
way.
yeah,
they
that's
do.
that's
And
what's
appreciate
what's
her.
sad
Yeah, they
about
do,
it because
yeah.
she's one of the greatest ever. But anyway, one day later on February 10th, Ye and Ty Dolla $ign drop Vultures 1. So there's not going to be a ton of album talk on my timeline. You guys can see our previous episode for that. But this was notable because clearly Kanye had been kind of semi-blacklisted for all his rants. He lost a lot of deals. Things weren't looking good for him. But when he dropped that album, it still debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, moved 148,000 units, all 16 songs debuted on the Hot 100. So that gave him his 11th #1 album, and Ty Dolla $ign his first. So that was the good news. I'll get to the bad news later. I'm not gonna lie, I don't care about this album. I've kind of tuned out
I listened to it. There
musically,
was
but
some
you
heat
like
on-
some
yo,
songs.
Listen,
What was that? That was Carnival, right?
Carnival was on that one. Ty Dolla $ign had some amazing R&B records on there that Kanye produced on, and Ty, they collaborated on. Musically, there was some very good stuff on there. It was very interesting. It's not, obviously, I don't think either of their best
bodies of work.
But does it live on for you? Like, is it an album that you look back on this year and was a memorable release?
Not for me.
Okay. Eddie, let's go to Eddie in LA for some insight.
Bro, I was off Kanye before it was cool. Like the second Kanye, what was the slave comment? Like slaves had a choice.
Yeah.
Like way
Slavery
back when
was
he
a
said
choice.
Yeah, I'm
Bro,
with you. I'm with you.
Back then, like it became passe and cool. I remember like legit arguing here. People like, Kanye, I was like, man, Kanye got a God complex, and people yelling at me. I'm like, who are you yelling at, first of all? Second of all, he got an album called Yeezus, fam. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeezus
like,
is fire.
Yeah, Jesus is
No,
great.
it's not.
Jesus is great.
No,
Jesus
there's some
is
joints
great.
on Yeezus.
But
Stop it.
he had another song called God Something. I'm like, yo, get off. So look, bro, if you love Kanye, he makes amazing music, whatever. Once slave talk came up, and then it got progressively worse after that, and I just got to stand there and be like, see, I told y'all. So look, man, be mad at me all you want. I don't listen to Kanye like that.
Yeah,
I didn't. I gave it one spin, but I never went back to it.
Well, so here's my thing. I still, while I don't expect Kanye to return to the form that we once celebrated him for, I, despite disagreeing with things that he says or thinking that he's just not communicating well and just being a dickhead on purpose, I will always tune in to see what he created, because we gotta act how we want to act. We know bro creates some fire. Yeah. I also think it's important to point out too in hip hop, whether the consensus of popularity is for you or against you, hip hop always tunes in to see what someone has to say, right? Yeah. Like even when you go back to like an Eminem, and the politicians were like using him as the poster child for like what's wrong in society, or when they were doing it to Tupac, or when they were doing it to any of these individuals that were saying things that were NWA, offensive or unpopular to certain groups or whatever, what have you. Fortunately, we live in an era now where you don't need to get your stuff into retail stores to get to the people. Mm-hmm. You just need to get it up on streaming platforms in some form or fashion. Yeah. And so I think that's why people were still able to tune in and see what Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign created, because I think artistically people still appreciate them, even if Kanye in his own kind of personal messaging is like, off base and off over the edge for many of us. You know what I'm saying? So, I say all that to say that that's kind of one of the I guess positives of hip hop is the fact that people will still tune in whether they agree with you or not, just to see what you're talking about and creating. It's true. I mean, enough people tuned in that they dropped the sequel to Vultures later in August. A couple more bright spots on my timeline here. February 12th, Usher performs at the Apple Music Super Bowl 58 halftime show. Obviously, Usher had been having an amazing run, those sold-out Vegas shows. He dropped a new album. He brought out Luda, Lil Jon, JD, will.i.am, Alicia Keys, the roller skates. All of it. This was just a really dope celebration of R&B, and I feel like this had to make the timeline. You still got your Usher bucks? Nah, I never had any. I didn't get any either. Nadeska, do you got your Usher bucks? It rained Usher bucks from the Super Bowl, and I still got my Usher bucks. Well, yeah, but see, the problem is you are cooler than us, and you were actually there to get the buck. I wasn't there. You had a baby. That's why you wasn't there. Yeah, but still. What are you doing with your Usher bucks? I just like to have my Usher bucks. It's cool when people come over. Eddie is a collector of all type of random. He really is. He's going to be hoarding a lot of shit. Nah, he got but he's also, I'm told, I've never been to Eddie's house, but I'm told it's very organized. I've been in his house plenty of times. No, but how he collects and categorizes things, like he's very it's very. You got the labels, like bro? He can go find what I need. Here's my Usher bucks from boom, 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 filed away. Here's my Beyonce shirt from. Look at him cheesing over there. It's right there. 2001. Because he knows. 2001 shirt. Because he knows. That's why. We've learned a lot about Eddie this year. I know Eddie was a fan of this next thing. February 15th, the Vince Staples Show premiered on Netflix. Amazing show. Love it. And it's been renewed for a second season. I just feel like we got to big up Vince, man. Congrats, for pushing that through and giving us such a dope rap moment on TV. And now March. Here we go, y'all. This is where I feel like we get two of the most shocking moments of the year. Okay, March.
22nd, 2024. We're all minding our business. Then out of the clear blue sky, Future, Metro, and Kendrick dropped Like That. So, listen, there's a lot of twists and turns in this beef, but what was shocking to me was that this came out of absolutely nowhere. I was still enjoying first-person shooter, thought things were all good, and then here comes Kendrick.
Well, so now we've talked about, we don't even need to relitigate
we really broke this down.
No, we're just reacting.
We spent the whole year on
no.
it.
I literally just want you guys to talk about how you felt the day it dropped.
Well,
That's it.
but I'm also, that day was the day where I was like, oh shit, we was sleep at the wheel, bro. And if y'all remember, some of us was pointing at first-person shooter as the reason that we got Like That. People were in denial, by the way. That was a thing where people was like, nah, first-person shooter. We were absolutely on this show like, no.
Says it in the song.
beginning.
He says it in the song.
And
he references it in the song. So it's like, where else do you think this starts?
Well, and not only that, but they were in the song playing in Kendrick's face. Like, big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl. Like, the only person who had performed at the Super Bowl at that juncture was Kendrick Lamar.
Bro.
Oh, I didn't read that deep into it.
I didn't.
So why are y'all getting together?
I didn't think about that.
No, why are y'all getting together saying your big is the Super Bowl when I'm the only one at this juncture who has been at the Super Bowl? Why are y'all playing in my face?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Wait, y'all didn't think about that?
I didn't think that far into it.
Hold on. If that line had come from Drake, okay, sorry, Eddie, just go ahead. I need a moment to digest. I didn't read that deep into it.
It's not playing in your face if you were supposed to be on the song. Like,
no, but everybody uses that excuse like, oh, he was supposed to be on the song. Was that before they recorded Big as the Super Bowl?
Did we know
or
he was
after?
confirmed to be on the song?
You don't know what they said on the song before or after. They might have been like, oh, he don't want to be on the song with us? All right, cool. We Big as the Super Bowl. You don't know.
That's a good thread to follow, honestly.
But
that's a really, because I didn't think about it like that. So now when you're saying that, when two of your peoples or whatever.
Oh, and we supposed to be the big three, by the way. So we're the big three.
So now, fuck all that.
What?
We're big as the Super Bowl.
I thought we were not litigating this. I thought.
No, because it's a new nugget that we have now.
No, I've been saying this all year.
No, dude, we have a new nugget right now. That's what I'm saying.
I've been saying this all year. He wasn't hearing me.
He was supposed to be on their song with it. It was supposed to be like this big.
But no, to his point, we don't know how.
Eddie, until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Like that.
The record came out.
No, but your brain is operating, Eddie, as if the song was complete.
Fair.
And Kendrick decided to not be on it. Everyone operates under the guise of, Drake and Cole recorded their parts, sent it to Kendrick, and then he decided not to be on it. They might have just sent him the beat and was like, hey, man, we'd love you to be on this record, or whatever they said. And then when he decided not to, we big as the Super Bowl. Oh, y'all playing with me now.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm too dumb. I'm too dumb. I would not have read that deep into it.
I just didn't go that far.
Just knowing that Cole has had a lot of respect for Kendrick over the years, never in a million years would I have listened to that and thought about him disrespecting Kendrick. So
he did it on.
It was still shocking to me.
But this is how crazy Kendrick is. Cole probably wasn't thinking like y'all that deep.
Right.
Drake
was.
He probably was.
No, Drake was.
We know he petty.
He probably might have been.
Was.
And Kendrick was like, which is why on Like That he says, I'm paranoid. Which for me was like, oh, he don't even know if they playing with him or not, but he's assuming that they are.
I'm assuming the worst.
I'm assuming y'all playing my fucking
I'm assuming the
face.
worst, so now I'm going to go to hell with it.
So let's go.
All right, so there it is, March 22nd, 2024, one of the most shocking days in hip-hop history, yes?
I love that. The year's over. By the way, the year was over right there. We didn't know at the time that the year was over.
That was the start of the...
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, beginning of the end.
That was the beginning of the end.
So let us carry on. Some good news here. March 29th, Beyonce drops COWBOY Carter. Notable because it was a country album. She made a big statement with this, and I felt like it was worth including. Yeah, Eddie?
Yeah, Grammys, y'all better stop playing in our face. I know that.
Well,
I know it was nominated.
as much as
she wasn't nominated for
country. As much as we
country,
pointed to...
no, she's nominated for Album of the Year.
Yeah,
but she's not in the country category.
No, she is.
Oh,
she's at the Grammys. She wasn't at the CMAs.
Yeah, CMAs.
this is actually the beginning of the future, this Beyonce thing, right? And COWBOY Carter, because you have one of the biggest artists in history creating space in a genre that notoriously hasn't created space in many generations for black artists. And so she created her own space in there. While the album isn't really a country album, it has country aesthetics. And she even said before releasing the album that it's not a country album, it's a Beyonce album. Some people took that as like an arrogant kind of, I guess, swipe at country music, or her trying to position herself as bigger than country music. In retrospect, I think people hopefully will go back and listen to this album because what she is saying, and what I took from it was, this is an album about me and the music that I love, and the fact that I'm from Houston and I'm from a place where there is country music and there is black rodeos, and this aesthetic is, as well as its blues, as well as its pop, as well as it's all of these things that has affected me as an artist and as a lover of music.
It's like a history lesson through her eyes.
Well, it's also a history lesson, right? Of just learning about Linda Martell, and you have Dolly Parton, and you have Willie Nelson, and then when you even go deeper and you begin to learn about, the June Carter, who was married to
the Man in Black,
Johnny Cash. June Carter's family, who were songwriters and music makers, and kind of established what we know to be modern country music in America. And I don't have the black man's name in my head, so I apologize, but they worked with a black man to go house to house and get songs that became the foundational music for country music. So that even came from black culture. That were the foundational songs for country music that had never been recorded before. And so they were recording those songs. So to even call it COWBOY Carter and to have it have all of those layers, the reason I'm saying it's a part of the future is because now you have other artists who got a spotlight placed on them because of this album.
Tanner Adele's, your Shaboozys, and other artists like that. And Beyonce did something very interesting in her career that I don't think a lot of people give her credit for. And Beyonce gets credit for a million things, and sometimes people get mad at you because you're always bringing up Beyonce. But
that's you, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do it one more time. So Beyonce was a pop star, right? And a lot of times in the past, what would happen is, even though you were black, once you became a pop star, you almost became colorless. It was kind of like Will Smith in movies. Like, Will Smith is very much a black man, but once you become so famous, they don't look at you as black in a weird kind of way. And it was an issue that Whitney Houston had early on in her career. And she talked about it. She was very vocal. Like, once Whitney Houston became a pop star, it felt like she lost a part of her black audience to her because of the way she was promoted through her music and her imagery and everything. Beyonce was very much on that trajectory, and somewhere around Lemonade, Beyonce busted a U-turn and started making very black music when she didn't have to do it. Like, she was well on to like a whole other stratosphere. So everything she's done from Lemonade and Renaissance and COWBOY Carter is very much an homage to the people that laid the foundation before her. And it's beautiful to see that as she's going over different, genres and aspects of music, that people like Linda Martell can have their time in the sun. So I love this album. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's my favorite album of the year before we got to GNX.
And just for those that want to do the research and the knowledge, the black man I was talking about, his name was Leslie Riddle, a black guitar player from Kingsport, Tennessee in the 1930s. He would go around with the Carters, did, what they called song collecting trips.
Wow. I want to thank you both for all this incredible detail and perspective. I feel I should correct myself. Beyonce did not drop a country album. She dropped a Beyonce album called COWBOY Carter on March 29th. No, thank you all seriously for all the perspective. We appreciate it. Now, we enter the month of April.
April was a shit show.
Now listen, so what did I say again? So March 22nd, we get Like That. Now at this point, we digest the song and everybody's waiting to see if Cole or Kendrick are gonna respond. I think most of us probably wanted to hear from Drake first. But on April 5th, Cole disses Kendrick. I'm gonna put in quotes. Cole disses Kendrick on 7-Minute Drill.
He dissed him.
On his tape, might delete later. I'm gonna put it in quotes because I felt like it was like a love tap more than it was like a straight out diss. And I'll pull the quote. Your first shit was classic, compliment. Your last shit was tragic, neutral. He's just saying it was a sad album because it was. Second one put people to sleep, fine. But they gassed it. And your third was massive. Another compliment. That was your prime. I was trailing right behind and I just now hit mine. Anyway, I never felt like this was a particularly vicious diss to begin with, but how did you guys feel when he dropped this? Like, were you happy to hear from Cole on this one? Did you want Drake? Like, what was the temperature?
I mean, I looked at it like you can't walk this back. And it's like, you know, after everything unfolded and hearing his perspective and understanding
Don't
why
skip ahead on the timeline. We just want to know how you felt in that moment when it dropped.
I was shocked.
Okay.
I was shocked.
Why were you shocked?
I don't know. I didn't see it coming from him, but even though Kendrick puts out like that, I didn't think Cole doesn't give off that kind of vibe where he goes into battle mode or he just outright disrespects his peers. So it was kind of shocking. Like, I like the competition aspect of it, but I'm like, this doesn't seem like him.
It seemed out of character.
It seemed out of character. So like the following days.
Not for me.
What?
You always talking about you the best. Are you ready for war? Like, it's what you talk about in your raps, bro. So somebody says something and that's on your level. It was overt. And I was like, all right, Cole, let's get it popping.
That's why I said I was shocked. I didn't think it was bad. I was just like, oh shit. Like,
I thought it was. Now, the listening to it sounded like it didn't have the same energy as Like That.
Right.
It didn't have the same aggression. He clearly wasn't, you know, as enthusiastic as Kendrick Lamar was. You know what I'm saying? But
because he's
nonetheless,
probably blindsided just like the rest of us when Like That dropped.
Well, nonetheless, he showed up. For the time being.
He did. For 2 days.
Well, 3 days.
3 days.
3 days later, on April 6th, you know, Cole is headlining Dreamville Festival. And he apologizes. He called the track the lamest shit I ever did in my life. He said he did, you know, feel some pressure from people to respond and that he wanted to get into the friendly, like, competitive aspect of it all, but that it, quote, just didn't sit right with his spirit. So he did have 7-minute drill removed from the internet, from DSPs. And as a Cole fan, this was like a difficult moment because obviously the backlash was swift. It feels like everybody was pissed. And this was hard just because he had been coming off such a strong run, right? He had the off season in 2021, the Gangsta Girls mixtapes. He had collabs with Nicki, Drake, Yachty, Dirk. I think they won a Grammy for that earlier in this year. We were getting ready for the Fall Off album. It felt like he was just on fire, and this was just kind of a setback in the moment, unfortunately. I saw Wiz Khalifa comment on this recently saying, like, he understands in the spirit of hip hop, like, and competition, why people felt that way, but also, like, on some human shit, he respects it. That as a human, you can't make mistakes and say, like, I probably shouldn't have said that, but.
Man, the internet, y'all know how the internet is, man. Of course people want to see the blood sport. Of course people think this shit is just wrestling to them. They don't give a fuck, man. They want to be entertained, man. So it's just rap. Like, to them, they're like, oh, okay, we getting it popping, let's get it popping. So of course when Cole comes out and shows a human side, there's gonna be backlash. That doesn't make it valid, right? That doesn't mean, at least in my assessment, Cole was being true to himself, which is one of the things we always ask for in hip hop. You know, for better or for worse, we're asking people to be authentic. And so Cole was authentic. And so I don't know why that's not celebrated more, right? Like, that's okay for me as a fan. Like, I was proud of him for being true to who he wanted to be, right? And clearly probably getting a heads up. Hey, bro, this ain't gonna be a friendly battle.
That's what Schoolboy Q. It was Schoolboy who did that, right?
Bro, I know you think this is just some fun rap shit.
You might want to see
this ain't finna be one of those.
Go back in the house.
No, in retrospect, I was glad he backed out, and it took a lot of courage.
And so why isn't that being celebrated more?
I celebrated it.
People are like, yo, my guy.
Because hip hop doesn't celebrate this kind of thing.
Well, no, the internet doesn't.
Hip hop, well, yeah.
But there were actual rappers that we respected as well who, like, took it upon themselves to call him out for this. I feel like some people appreciated him just being a human.
That's just some people's opinion.
But that's not the internet, though. That's okay.
Right, fine. But that doesn't. I guess all I'm saying is that doesn't make it consensus.
Now, all right, back a date to April 19th. Now, after days and weeks? I don't know. It felt like months of waiting. Drake finally releases Push Up. So he had originally leaked it on April 13th, but the official drop April 19th. takes shots at everyone. Future, Metro, Kendrick, The Weeknd, Rick Ross. He's making fun of Kendrick's height. He's responding to the Prince and Michael Jackson jabs. He's claiming that SZA, Travis Scott, 21 Savage has Kendrick wiped down. And then, Ross Ross responds to this very quickly and starts the whole BBL Drizzy mania. All right, so here it was. This is the response we were waiting for. What was your initial reaction to this one?
I started to think like, okay, this is about to be a thing. I started to believe like this is gonna start some shit. And I'm glad that Drake showed up because that record was very direct, very unpredicted, and very like flag in the ground. And Drake was like, okay, this is the moment I've been waiting for. But he had other targets. I guarantee you if the other targets weren't there, this probably would have been more focused for Drake.
I ain't gonna lie, bruh. I thought Kendrick might have had a problem for a quick little second. You know how you watching like an NBA game and all of a sudden, it's a 2-1 lead and you're like, oh no, man.
Yeah.
Maybe Drake. Cause we seen Drake like do some shit in some battles. I'm like, oh, he might. Even like the album art where we had like the shoe size. I was like, oh, that's funny. He got the size 7s on there.
He caught that.
That was kind of hilarious. Little did I know.
Little did you know.
Yeah, but you can't jump ahead. If you're reliving that moment, you were just kind of like, yeah, Drizzy got one. This shit is good.
Yeah,
that's why I'm like, okay, this is dope.
And by the way, when we recall history, hopefully we recall it correctly, that Drake showed up yet again for a battle.
Yeah.
Win or lose, he was ready to get it on. He got called to the floor. He was ready to get it popping.
He was active, and he made it a point to showcase that I'm not scared if I'm called out. I'm not scared of how good this guy is. This is the moment where I'm going to show up and show out. And that's what he did.
And the worst part about it, for that 2 weeks or whatever, 3 weeks, we were glued to the internet. Like, I remember when one of these records dropped, I was out to dinner with a shorty for the first time. And I was like, look, man, like, you cool and all, we ain't going out again after that.
If she's a real one, she'd understand.
I was like, I got to hear these songs. And then it becomes everyone's texting and we're calling and we're kind of removed a little bit from it. But this took over our lives in the best of ways, and it became the vocal part of conversation. And the beauty of it is it was the first time in this online era where we realized, like, these songs could drop at any second.
What did I say? So that's April 19th. And shortly after, so we'd been waiting a little while for this response. Then Drake doubles back real quick with Tailor-Made Freestyle.
Wait, he dropped them the same day?
Yep. I just have to double check that. Was like, but I don't know, like clearly Push-Ups was done earlier. So it was dropped the same day technically, but not really. But anyway, yes.
Yeah.
So this one had the AI vocals from Pac and from Snoop, and then Drake comes in at the end with his own voice, accusing Kendrick of not responding to the original diss because he didn't want to interfere with Taylor Swift's album release date. And is this the one that ended with the triple entendre one?
This is the one. This was the beginning of the end for Drake. This was his first misstep in this battle. Like his first huge like. All right, man, we saw the makings of the L. The L wasn't there yet, but the L was on the horizon. We were coming over the hill. We could see is that an I? What am I seeing over there? Wait, what? And as soon as we got over here.
Is that an I? Is that a J?
Is that a J? What is that? We're coming over. What's happening?
That is an L, boys and girls.
L.
Well, I'll say this. The viewers can go back and you guys can look at, what date was this?
April 19th.
You can look at that week when we covered this on this here Rap Life review, so you can see what we discussed at that time.
So April 30th now, Kendrick drops Euphoria. Now, the disdain on this track was crazy. Before this, it sounded like, okay, maybe this could be some industry beef. This started to sound like Kendrick just really didn't like this man. He calls him a bad parent, more jokes about the plastic surgery. He says, you're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist. He was not amused with like the AI moves. Things got real... it got nasty here.
But he did say, I like the singing Drake. I don't like the
tough Drake.
Tough guy Drake. He was like, I like that record. Like he was saying something that I think, once again, we got to remember this is important. We fell in love with Drake. Think of the beginning when we met Drake on the mixtapes and all that.
So foregone.
Right? He was a vulnerable, honest, great rapper, melodic, storyteller,
diverse
guy. He was diverse. He was all of these things that I think we all were like, this is dope.
This is a good
Now,
package.
mind you, there were people in and around hip hop because he wasn't a street dude, because he wasn't trying to be tough, that was trying to shit on him from early.
But it felt authentic, and so it resonated.
Clearly, everyone loved him being his honest self. I think that's what Kendrick was saying in this Euphoria record, part of it. I mean, he was saying other things too, but part of it was, hey man, we like that dude, man. Be yourself. Go find yourself. Go be that person that everyone really liked, bro. There's nothing wrong with that person. You've become something else.
Right.
Which is tough to hear in a rap battle. The songs now start coming back to back, so I'm gonna keep going. Feel free to jump in and interrupt me here if you have like quick reactions. Otherwise, I'll get to the end and then you do your thing. So May 3rd, Kendrick now responds with 616 in LA, obviously like trolling Drake over his series, and subtle dig here, I thought. This song was produced by Jack Antonoff, who's Taylor Swift's longtime producer, after Drake had just tried to shit on him about trying to avoid Taylor Swift's release date.
Look at the nuggets.
And then, hours later, Drake drops Family Matters. He's going after Kendrick's family here. He's calling his fiance by name. He's roping his manager, Dave Free, into the drama. Again, it's getting really personal, now really messy. One day later, May 4th, Kendrick drops Meet the Grams. More shots about the family, about surgery, alleges that Drake is taking Ozempic, that he has a secret daughter, and then less than 24 hours later, he drops Not Like Us. This really felt like the nail in the coffin right here, because some people had criticized Kendrick's releases. Some people felt like maybe they weren't exciting enough, but then coming off Meet the Grams and then coming back with Not Like Us, which we know goes on to be a certified hit, a day later, on May 5th, Drake follows up with The Heart Part 6, trying to riff off of Kendrick's Heart series, which again comes back to bite him in the ass when Kendrick drops GNX. Drake alleges that the whole hidden daughter rumor was planted by his team in like a false flag operation. Man, at this point, it was just getting...
It was over.
To be maybe too much.
It was over, yeah.
Right?
It was over.
It was over.
Well, I think one of the things in The Heart Part 6 that I still, or people forget, and I often remind people because this conversation comes up all the time, is Drake was basically like, I don't want to play anymore because you lying. And when you gonna get back to telling the truth, then maybe we can get back to this battle. At which point I was like, I don't know if that is a battle rule in my time around battles.
Like that's not one of the benchmarks.
I don't know if truth telling
yeah.
was the thing. I thought it was just like whoever could entertain the audience the best.
Who has the best lie or the
most believable, entertaining shit.
Or the most disrespectful shit. There is no rule book.
But I've never seen like somebody be like, yo, you're lying, so I don't want to battle no more.
Meet the Grams dropped like 20 minutes after Family Matters.
Yeah, it did.
Like, so it wasn't like in our timeline, it's the next day. But for us, it was 20 minutes. It wasn't the next day.
Yeah, no, it was right on the heels.
No, it was like,
but it was
I think it was a late drop.
It was like 11 o'clock.
It was a time difference thing, but
so
yeah, you're right.
Okay,
no, you're right.
Okay.
It was 20 minutes, but I do think it technically was. Anyway, thank you for pointing that out, Eddie. I appreciate it.
Well, and I honestly believe like, the Euphoria and Meet the Grams, as much as Drake did a great job in this battle, lyrically and
gave us a video. Dropped the video, which was crazy.
And song making wise, right? I think Drake did a great job. I think the reason Kendrick, and I think this is why people struggle with, like, at the time I remember people struggling with who was winning. It wasn't a struggle for me. Conceptually, Kendrick went to a place beyond just making songs. He was making concepts of things that were more than just the song. And I think for your, maybe passive or new hip hop fan, that understanding is lost on the concept beyond the punchlines and the one-liners and a beat selection and something catchy and hooky is the actual concept, the thread, the tie that binds the story. The fact that Kendrick did foreshadowing in Euphoria and left things for people. And I don't even know if you talked about, what was it, 315 LA, 613?
616 in LA.
Yeah.
616 in LA, which never even came out. And I think that's where, people get lost because Kendrick's required more than just, ooh, this is a boppy record with some punchlines. Mm-hmm. And I think that's honestly the difference between the two artists in general, is that, Drake is very much about a great song and something that is, kind of just
digestible.
Easier to digest.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. More accessible to the most, to the masses.
Yeah.
That's why he's so popular.
Right.
Where Kendrick's appeal has been about the intricacies, the detail, the learning, the gems, all of these other things. And that's why I don't think that's why I'm appreciative of both of them, because they come to the game with different things.
You're right.
And also what we're not kind of like summarizing as well is this became like some Riddler shit. Like we were trying to decipher, what's that glove mean? What's this mean? And one of the bars he said something like, then he led it up into the exact same song. And at this time period, this means this thing. I was talking about 4 bars earlier. It became this weird thing where we couldn't all figure out what he was saying purely in the imagery and the music. It became a cultural and a moral war with Kendrick. And like Ebro was saying, they were fighting 2 different things. Drake was fighting Kendrick the rapper. Kendrick was fighting everything Drake stood for. It was crazy, bruh.
Missing on this timeline somewhere is that fan running up on Cole peaceful on a beach. Just happily he backed out of this beef. All right, so that was May 5th, the last big update. I'm just going to throw this one in there that quietly on May 10th, Gunna, who came home some time ago after the whole Young Thug legal fiasco, releases One of One, proceeded to move albums and,
Had
just
a great
happily
year, that Gunna.
go on tour, which again was to me one of the most shocking things that happened in the year. Real quick, just wrapping up May 24th, Sexy Red drops You My Everything with Drake. He's rapping over the Metro Booming BBL Drizzy beat. This is like the last ditch effort to be like, I can laugh at this and try to flip this, but it felt like
Good attempt.
All right, let's skip ahead to June. Oh boy, Kendrick Lamar, man. June 19th. He performs live at the Pop-Out in Los Angeles, brings out the whole city, TDE, all the friends and family, athletes who previously were cool with Drake, and performed, Eddie can confirm because he was there, he performed Not Like Us 6 times. Amazing. And then, on July 4th, we're all home trying to barbecue or do whatever you do on a holiday weekend. Kendrick drops the music video for Not Like Us with more shots at Drake. Just foot on the neck. This just really kept going. It was a crazy summer. Listen, August was a nice light month, just a couple cool highlights here. Yo, the Paris Olympics this year, Snoop Dogg becoming like a phenomenon at the Olympics, going from Crippin' to this. Incredible. And also breakdancing debuted at the Olympics this year, which was also really
Grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah, because didn't one of the people or one of the girls that was dancing, like she retired from breakdancing because of this?
Yeah, that's the girl. So the Australian lady up there. That's his own.
Okay, never mind. Forget I said it.
Matter of fact, there's a lot going on with her. But
I was there though. That was fun. Thanks.
Oh,
Olympics.
yeah, you did
that
go
was
to.
I went to Olympics.
Were you at the breakdancing competition?
Nah, I went to sprinting though. That was cool. And I saw some tennis and I saw basketball.
Shout out to Snoop and Martha Stewart. By the way, I think it's for years I have talked about how Snoop is an American treasure.
Yes.
No, it is.
Yes.
Even
absolutely.
going back to his early, like when he first started doing stuff with Martha Stewart and Willie Nelson and all of that, and also just being someone who literally before marijuana was legal was known as a weed smoker and would show up in all types of places in the United States.
Hi.
With marijuana and smoking and not get arrested.
I'm a firm believer that there's 2 people in America that don't need the code switch and they can still get into whatever they want, and it's Snoop Dogg and Marshawn Lynch.
There you go.
They're the 2 human beings that just refuse the code switch, and people of all kind of backgrounds are just like, all right, cool, let's do it.
All right. Well, Drake also dropped 100 gigs. All right, let's skip ahead to September.
Wait, you just skipped over 100 gigs for your head top?
That's
like
crazy.
That?
That's crazy.
Sorry.
I thought we was going to talk about
All
that.
right, Lo, hit us.
No, I think 100 gigs for your head top. I think honestly.
Why you gotta say the head top?
Yeah,
Wasn't that what it was called? Yo.
No, it was called 100 gigs.
No, that was the site, but he called it 100 gigs for your head top. Yo, I'm going to the producers. Wasn't that the official title?
You know you didn't need to say that part, bro.
You did that. You saying it to be funny.
It is officially the title was 100 gigs for your head top.
All right, sir.
Where? Like, where is that labeled? Like on the folder or?
On the site, yes.
On the site.
Oh,
So
wow.
y'all can try to act like I was trying to play. No, it's called 100 gigs for your head top.
You win.
You win.
You win.
I wasn't trying to win.
got
I
that.
was just, it wasn't a win or loss. I honestly wasn't trying to be shady. Y'all was trying to make it like I was trying to be shady.
No, it just,
You're never
Saturday
being
shit,
shady.
but you
You're
win.
never
You got
shady.
it.
it was dressed up funny. Just like,
That's
you like
not
you
my,
yelled
I
it.
didn't do that. I didn't name it. I didn't decide to put it out. The only reason I'm pointing it out is because it does mark a time in the year where, because later on Cole does something similar, which they are reminding their audience, like recalibrating their audience and bringing back the nostalgia.
That was that probably was the best move post beef, right? He got, including myself, he got everybody back on his side. We got to see how Take Care was made. Nothing was the same. Thank Me Later. Like for a moment, I forgot about all that shit. As I was watching, going through the folders, him picking out beats, him sitting with Boy Wonder, them mixing the records, all this type of creative shit. I'm like, okay, this is something that's gonna take my mind away from what just happened. So I love the fact that he did that. And gave us like what, 3 records?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the fact that
I
he
didn't know
did.
you appreciated it that much when it dropped.
No,
Maybe
I
I just
did.
don't remember. That's dope.
I was sending y'all.
No, you were sending
I was
it.
sending y'all clips.
Yeah, I forgot there were some good songs on that.
You was,
okay.
yeah.
All right, September. I'm gonna combine these next two. On September 8th, the NFL and Apple Music announced that Kendrick Lamar will be headlining the 2025 Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans.
That day.
I have some thoughts on this. I think Ebro wants to go first.
I wanted to go back to 100 gigs and what Lo was saying about the reminder we have moved forward from the beef. And then the Super Bowl shit drops. And it's literally like, oh shit. Fuck.
Yo, I woke up that morning, I think, and my phone was just going off.
I found out when I was at Target. I'm buying like frozen berries, and all of a sudden my phone, like how Lowe's phone was going off, people hit me. I'm looking, I think it might have been one of y'all that said, I don't even remember. And I'm like, wait, what? And it was like,
I was
he
like,
ain't
you
missed
can't be
yet.
serious.
He ain't missed yet.
And I'm like, and the crazy thing about, when he makes announcements, it's just a YouTube link or a picture. There's no like real big promo. I mean, they did the commercial, but like, it's just like here. Like, just so subtly here.
Well, you see that viral tweet that was like
the timeline of his.
Yes, we've never seen a 6-tweet run like this, and it's
Bro.
nothing but beef records, Super Bowl.
Album link. It's like, and he ain't said nothing. There's no tweets in between.
Nah, bruh.
Y'all can't tell me this was a normal year in rap. There's no way. Jaded, not jaded. I don't care
Yo,
how
that
long you've been
was
doing
crazy.
this.
It was good
Crazy year.
And it also should be pointed out prior to this year, rap people, the early parts of the end of last year, early parts of this year was like, hip hop hasn't had number ones and it's hip hop over and da-da-da-da. And clearly it ain't.
It took a really dark turn at the end of the year too, October 24th. Then we hear Lil Durk, who had been having a great year. He dropped a great album the year before. He won a Grammy this year. Durk gets arrested on federal murder for hire charges along with 5 other affiliates from OTF in connection to the shooting of Quando Rondo's cousin.
He caught another charge recently.
Oh, I thought it'd been quiet. Maybe I just missed that. And then some good news. On October 31st, Young Thug was finally released from prison after 2 years with a plea deal. Did not see that coming. We needed that one. What's up?
Yo, Thug, like what's the deal, dog? As of the day, as us recording this right now, he hasn't released a song. Like,
We can wait.
Yo, bro, don't rush that.
We can wait till
Don't rush that.
2025.
Don't rush that.
There's a lot going on. Did you see on the
that's-
timeline?
Yeah, that's still hot.
Chill.
Come on, fam. We need his first day out.
No. Let Thug get back to his family. Let Thug get back into the world. Let him become a person of society again. And then maybe we could jump into the studio. But like, don't rush that shit.
I think
I ain't
also
worried about
too,
all that.
listen, there's a lot of things
don't
he can't.
do that.
But by
Don't
the way,
do that.
there's also a lot of things he can't talk about in the record.
He can't say a lot of
So
shit.
he got to map out
How he gonna do it?
Yeah.
Who's he gonna do it with? If it
Hey,
even
man.
makes sense to release any music.
Alchemist just tweeted he do like a soul jazzy album with it, man. Hook up with
Yo,
Alchemist.
I will
like
take
soul
any
jazz.
album Young Thug wants to
I'm
give me.
not.
He should do a whole album with like Jamie XX. Remember when he had that song like Good Times? Yo, there's
Yeah,
so many
yeah.
there's so many directions that he could go in that would be like amazing. Like I love Thugger, and I could wait till next year for this
Yeah,
one.
just give him a little time, bro. Just give him a little
There's
time.
only 3 more
My
points on the timeline, and gentlemen, we made it.
Okay.
November 18th, J. Cole drops his Inevitable audio series. We get a nice recap of the career, the classic mixtapes, the warm up, the come up, Friday Night Lights. Finally hit DSPs after much begging and pleading from people like me. Then November 22nd, Kendrick drops GNX album. It still wasn't over. And let me just finish. November 25th, Drake files the UMG petition alleging they violated the RICO Act by using illegal tactics to boost streams. I'm just gonna end the timeline there because this episode is getting way too long. Thank you all.
Wait, you can't just rap. You can't just rap.
Kendrick dropped the album.
Come on,
Drake
bro.
is suing people. Like what? We done?
I'm gonna have some tea. You guys can take it away from here.
I mean, everyth's been said, bro. Like,
well done. Got to give you your props for laying this
ladies
whole
and
thing
gentlemen,
out
the amazing Nadeska with your year in review on Rap Review.
Thank you guys for chiming in with all the
2024
insight
was
and details.
eventful, and I think we would be remiss to not thank and celebrate everybody who tunes in, as well as all of the amazing human beings that make this program possible. Apple Music and all of the players and all of the ends of the business. And once again, we appreciate your engagement and your comments, and that's why we show up here. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? They will be canceling this as soon as y'all stop commenting and watching. So, hopefully, we'll see you in 2025.
Yeah, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Happy holidays. Hope you guys enjoy a little time off with your families.
And shout to the addition of Eddie to the show.
Full time.
Full time. Every episode.
Love
it.
Thank you.
Love
man.
it.
Love y'all. Appreciate it.
For Eddie, Low, and Nadeska, I'm Ebro. Rap Life Review. Happy New Year and happy holidays to all of y'all.
What's good? Nadeska here. If you made it through that entire episode of the Rap Life Review, that means you're really a fan. Hit that like button so we know it's real. Subscribe if you never want to miss an episode. And of course, if you really have something to say, drop a comment and we'll hit you back on next week's episode.